Yeah. The Cuyahoga County Council regular meeting for Tuesday, June 7th is now called to order. Andrea, would you please call the roll?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is now 5:33 p.m. As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Just a few minutes, hold on. Okay, calling the roll. We've got Mr. Tuma,
Here.
Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Schron,
Here.
Ms. Conwell,
Present.
Ms. Turner is absent, Ms. Stevens,
Present.
Ms. Simon,
Here.
Ms. Baker,
Here.
Mr. Miller,
Here.
Mr. Sweeney,
Present.
Council President Jones.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we have a?
President.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse our colleague Meredith Turner.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. At this time, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, let's have a moment of silence for the recent casualties in Texas and Cleveland due to gun violence. Thank you. This time, Andrea, has anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes. Kareem Hinton.
Good evening.
I'm here today as a representative of Black Lives Matter Cleveland. Is this on? Okay. Good evening, Council. I'm here as a representative of Black Lives Matter Cleveland, and I'm here also representing families who've lost loved ones to police violence, such as Sumari Rice, who is here, Brenda Bickerstaff, LaTanya Goldsby. I'm here today to speak in regards to the county jail. I'm here today to appeal to you on for a couple of reasons. One, we are aware of the fact that a threat was made to the city of Cleveland that they needed to get behind the construction of new jail down at Transport Drive, and if they didn't, it would be moved to Garfield. I think that is very irresponsible. If it goes to Garfield, we're still in Cleveland. We're still here. Us here in Cleveland are going to have to pay for it. But what it's going to force us to have to do is, because we're not going to be able to logistically transport all of the prisoners to Garfield, they're going to force Cleveland to have to build a new jail. But what we're also aware of is that because some of us have been going to meetings in Garfield and having these conversations with Mayor Burke, we're also aware that he was also approached regarding a new court being built there. So this shows that in order to make it more palatable, we're going to just throw out the new jail now, but what we're going to also do is, after we get that approved, we're going to go ahead and then say, hey, we need to raise taxes or keep taxes raised because we need to build the court out there. That means the city's going to have to also build a new court. So now, Instead of the $550 million that you propose, we're going to be spending over $1 billion. And you're trying to sneak it in, or some folks are trying to sneak it in. And so what we're here to really try to convey to you is that that's fiscally irresponsible. So now Clevelanders are going to have to pay extra amounts of money for construction in Cleveland that they're going to have to do, and for the construction that's going to happen in Garfield. Now, here's the problem. Talking with folks in Garfield, they have a huge problem with this because they're not prepared for the influx of the homeless, people with mental health issues and so forth that are going to be being released into their communities. Last thing that I want to hit you with, that new jail, or the jail just needs to be refurbished here. And it needs to stay where it's at because Garfield is not prepared for the transportation needs that are going to be needed. When folks get out, or folks need to get to court, when they get out here, they're able to disperse and go where they need to go because they have rapids and they have buses. Send those folks out to Garfield. They don't have that. They're going to be troubled by the police, and you're going to be opened up to a lot of lawsuits happening as a result. Thank you. My time's up.
Ross Debello.
Good morning, Council. I'm Ross Debello, and I'm speaking this morning to ask you to vote no on any proposed new jail. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over while expecting a different result. Spending this huge amount of taxpayer dollars on a new jail is inhumane and backwards. More crime, population loss, grift, and racial disparities are what a yes vote will lead to. Nelson Mandela said, "No one truly knows a place until one has been inside its jails. A place should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones." If the county genuinely wants to accomplish safety and prosperity, we would save money and make our current jail a more humanitarian place where inmates don't die because of careless or greedy mismanagement. A new building should not be mistaken for a new compassion for prisoners. Every argument for a yes vote is a pretext for those who know the history here. Sports stadiums, Garfield Heights, the Hilton, freeways, consultants, the Global Center for Health Innovation, and yet we have a much better example than those of county decline, waste, and hate for those who've just made a mistake. Quite recently, we tried this with the Juvenile Justice Center, the definition of insanity. Contractors, lawyers, consultants, bankers, some not even county residents, all got paid. And as most of us know, that process led to some folks going to the federal prison. But our county children, adults, and kids that were just lucky enough to become adults all got abused. Spending recklessly again will continue to speed up the decline. Please believe that when a car gets jacked, an officer dies in the line of duty, or racial disparities worsen, this is not random. In every poll, the public is showing more and more it knows crime is a product of bad socioeconomic policies by politicians. If we want this county to genuinely grow for all, to start beating out other counties, if we want a win-win for all people and interests of this county, we can't maximize spending on construction of an inhumane building which will encourage more inhumane power dynamics and backward progress. We've got to spend as many pennies as possible uplifting people, even people who need a second or maybe third chance. Please minimize spending on the structure and maximize spending on management, rehabilitation, and families. Everybody would win in that case. It just wouldn't be a short-term windfall to a select few influential folks. So please vote no on this proposal, and after decades, let's finally build it differently. Thank you.
Larry Heller.
My name is Larry Heller. I'm with Northern Ohio Recovery Association. And like the other speakers, I'm here because of something that occurred in the minutes the last meeting, I understand that this body determined not to fund a second study evaluating possible rehabilitation of the current Justice Center. That was the first I learned that there was a first study. The first study from 2014 has not yet been made public. So I respectfully request that this board authorize making that first study public, release to the public information about the possible rehabilitation of all or part of the current Justice Center, especially including the proposed split use plan, which was just discussed in a recent article in Cleveland.com that separates jail 1 and 2, houses people in one while the other is rehabilitated. And according to that article, the cost was about $53 million, a lot less than the $550 million, which isn't an accurate figure because that doesn't even include all the consultant fees, all the environmental cleanup, which may be huge, and especially does not include financing. So even before the courts are considered, that plan may be over $1 billion. Okay. So I understand that our county leadership, including many people in this room, have long supported evidence-based best practice standards, including diversion, treatment instead of punishment, and alternatives to incarceration. Building this new jail, even larger than the current jail, defies that, goes against those evidence-based standards. The capacity estimates for the new jail were created prior to the diversion center opening, prior to the proposed bail reform, prior to many people learning new methods of alternatives to incarceration. We proved during COVID we could reduce population. It's my belief that alternatives to incarceration may help us to drastically reduce jail population, both pre-trial and post-conviction. Incarceration does not improve public safety. And I'd be happy to meet with any of you individually or collectively to discuss actual specific examples and thoughts on alternatives to incarceration. And these evidence-based best practice standards of alternatives to incarceration will reduce crime, will improve public safety, and will greatly reduce costs. Thank you.
Dick Perry.
Thank you. And I just wanted to urge the county council, please do not accept the proposal that seems headed your way to build a new jail on poisoned land.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
If you could identify yourself for the record, please. Your name, state your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Dick.
Mr. Perry, if you could push the green button. Thank you.
The green light that should come on if you.
There, okay, thank you. I'm sorry, this came along after I got out of school, so I don't know how to operate it. I hope that you will not accept a proposal that's headed your way to build a new county jail on poisoned land. During the 68 years that I've been a resident of Cuyahoga County, I saw the old jail that was built for 350 people, crammed full with 800 people, many of whom did not belong in jail because they were no threat to society. That led to the construction of the new Justice Center that was with a promised 2,000 cell jail at a cost of $60 million. It opened, it cost $120 million with a jail that held fewer than 1,000. That jail was expanded somewhat, and finally it was overcrowded to the point where it held 2,000 people. And so now we're talking about building another jail that will hold over 2,400 people before it starts to become overcrowded. And yet there has been no bail reform. There have been no strategies put in place to divert people from being in jail in the first place who don't have to be there for the protection of society. And so I want to say that I think that for our county to step forward and continue expanding these jail capacities, we will be joining the ranks across the country of governments that are promoting mass incarceration, that is doing devastation to communities of color in Cayuga County and everywhere else. It deprives children of their fathers. It deprives communities of men and women who can be good workers. So I just want to hope that none of you will vote for building a new jail until we make sure that all of the systems are firmly in place to see that the people who are put inside it are only those who have to be there, and we will minimize the destruction to society that's taking place by this mass incarceration. Thank you very much.
Adam Presnahan.
Hi, my name is Adam Presnahan. I'm here with Cleveland Norris for Public Transit. I'm a resident of Cleveland Ward 11. On April 21st, the jail steering committee resolved to conduct further environmental evaluation of the Transport Road site and conducted a new study on whether the current jail can be renovated. It has been reported that County Council refuses to fund these studies. The resolution to conduct further studies was made because the environmental consultants at that meeting spoke in very vague terms, such as using words like generally, imagining, and the like. This jail would be the most expensive public works project in the county's history, and funding it with maintenance of the quarter-cent sales tax would come at the detriment of public transit by making a levy unviable. It's unacceptable to go forward with the jail on the basis of unclear information on both its necessity and the plausibility of the site. This, as well as everything that people have come before me have said. The steering committee acknowledged this fact in the resolution. If you go forward with the jail without following the guidance of the steering committee and funding these studies, then the steering committee is a meaningless body and the entire process is a farce. Thanks.
Thank you. Sumari Davis.
Hi, my name is Sumari Davis. I'm just here to speak about the jail that you are thinking about building and the fact that this meeting started so late, and I didn't like that. Time is money, and I'm poor and I don't have either. So in 2011, a Cleveland.com article rated Cleveland as 41 in public transit, and in 2019, a Wallet Hub article ranked Cleveland as 46 in public transit. And according to the same Cleveland.com article, more than 45% of jobs are 10 miles or more away from downtown Cleveland. Ooh. Oh yeah, I guess it's supposed to be about the jail and public transit, but yeah, say no to the jail. Let me keep going with what I have to say. Personally, I don't drive. I'm working a job that pays $13.50 an hour. There's a similar job out in Parma that will pay me $15 an hour, but it will take me over an hour to get there and over an hour to get back home. So I know that having a better public transit system would allow people to expand their search radius when applying for jobs. And lastly, the mayor of Cleveland wants to move more people into the city, and the buses are already packed as it is. So I think the money should not be going to a jail and should be going instead to public transit. Thank you.
Steve Norris.
Hi, my name is Steve Norris. I'm a member of Showing Up for Racial Justice.
Mr. Norris, if you could speak a little bit more louder in the microphone.
My name is Steve Norris, and I'm a member of Showing Up for Racial Justice. And I'm asking the council to don't build a new, larger jail. Instead, reduce jail population. We saw it was possible during the pandemic. Bail reform can prevent people from staying in jail unnecessarily and only use, pretrial incarceration as a last resort. Renovation is more feasible when the jail's not crowded. So instead, invest in alternatives to policing and incarceration, like safe, affordable housing, mental health services, jobs with decent wages, and substance abuse services. It's less expensive and more effective to treat mental health in the community than it is in institutions. So lastly, what does it say about our county if we prioritize locking people up over providing housing, healthcare, and education? Thanks.
Brian Mallory.
Good evening. My name is Brian Mallory. Councilperson Conwa, I'm one of your constituents, and I'm here on behalf as the state tri-chair of the Ohio Poor People's Campaign. If you're not familiar with the Poor People's Campaign, Dr. Martin Luther King back in 1968 started the original campaign. We have revived that. And we have a very basic theory of change and social justice. We believe there are five interlocking injustices: systemic poverty, systemic racism, militarism in the war economy, environmental degradation, and the false moral narrative of religious nationalism. These five injustices are so tightly intertwined that any policymaking and elected body has to address them not as individual parts, but as a collective. Our county courageously has designated racism as a public health crisis. We commend that. But the question remains, if we can take that step, then what are we doing to address the social issues that have set this up? We have seen decades in this region of disinvestment, loss of jobs, loss of hope. The county is proposing a $550 million jail, and as stated earlier, the largest public works project in this county's history. Concurrently, and while that money is in one pot, concurrently, this region is going to receive $753 million in ARPA money. Now, I don't know about you, but as a resident of this community, it strains credulity to think that we are going to use this ARPA money to try to change the traditional arc that we have had in this region by looking at approaches to invest in drug treatment, to invest in diversion, to invest in community development, to improve our education, our transportation, all those things that make a first-class community where everyone benefits. But on the other hand, we have folks invested in using the same old, tried, hackneyed, and failing policies that have brought us to this point. So I ask again, is this the picture that we want to present to our fellow community members and to our nation? Because we know how this is going to end if we continue down this path. BIPOC communities and poor communities are disproportionately affected. And this does not change that trajectory by spending this amount of money from the public trust. Thank you for your time.
Caitlin Gatos Baker.
Good afternoon. My name is Caitlin Gatos Baker. I'm a resident of Garfield Heights, and I'm urging you to oppose the plans to build a new jail in Cuyahoga County. In 2020, Cuyahoga County made efforts to reduce its jail population in light of the looming public health crisis of COVID-19 and its transmission within the jail. Cuyahoga County should continue to make efforts to decarcerate and reduce the number of people in jail, as the carceral system continues to present a public health crisis, not limited to the ongoing pandemic, but also including the 15 people who have died in custody of the Cuyahoga County Jail since 2018. Also because of the financial burden that incarceration and detainment places on families that threatens their safety and security, and because of the long-term trauma to family and communities when jails rip families apart. Cuyahoga County has many options for reducing the numbers of people in jail. Some of these options include bail reforms, sending counselors or alternate responders to respond to crises that involves mental health, homelessness, substance abuse, and incidents involving people with disabilities, as well as investing in mental health services and harm reduction services for drug addiction. Additionally, Cuyahoga County has the option to use the extremely conservative $550 million that's already been allotted for the new jail to instead fund public goods that actually reduce crime by addressing the needs of the communities, such as fully funding public schools, funding safe, affordable, and accessible housing, funding safe roads, clean water, and overall community care. I even have a dream that one day Cuyahoga County will invest in an urban food forest, much like Atlanta has already done, to combat the food insecurity that is so pervasive in our communities. If you have love in your hearts for your community and for your neighbors, please consider that there is no community-centered, family-centered, trauma-informed way to build a jail, because jails inherently ignore the needs of the communities they are in. In short, a new jail in Cuyahoga County would be an unnecessary and harmful drain on the county's precious resources without adding any community value. We can afford to dream big. We can afford to dream beyond jails. Thank you for your time.
Arnold Schern.
One, two, it's on. My name is Arnold Schern, and I am a mental health worker. And I know that money can be spent in mental health, working with families, displaced families. We need after-school programs. That $550 million, and as some of the previous speakers stated, the cost may be higher than that. And at the beginning of this meeting, you said a prayer and you had a moment of silence for the victims of crime. But if you truly believe the children are our future, then you will invest in our future. And jails, we know, all the statistics shows that jails does nothing for our community. The marginalized community do not benefit from jails. The elite in our community benefits from those jails, not the people who live in this community. Someone stated previously, transportation. I've been around the world because I was in the military, and our transportation system is antiquated. It's antiquated. As she stated, she can't get to that job in Palmer. So these are some of the things we really need to consider before we talk about building a $550 million jail. First, you maybe can pay some of these mental health workers. The job that we do is part of keeping this community safe, of making sure these clients are med compliant, and on and on and on. And we're being overworked and underpaid. So I say no to building a jail that has no benefits, but it's only advantageous to the elite in this community.
Lou Zucker. Lou Zucker.
Hello. Hello, council members and everyone else gathered here today. My name is Lou, and I live in Old Brooklyn. I'm a constituent of County Ward 7, and Ward 7 is where the proposed new jail site at Transport Road is located. My county representative is Yvonne Conwa. I'm standing here to talk about a way forward for public safety in our county. I share the understanding with council that the county jail is a despicable place. I understand that some of the members of the Justice Center Steering Committee, which County Council is represented on, want to address the current issues of the existing jail by building another $550 million jail. One of the arguments the Justice Center Steering Committee gives for building a new jail is to make it a state-of-the-art facility that can provide more services to the people locked up. In response to that, I think the criminal justice system should not be a person's entry point into receiving the services they need. People out in the community need affordable housing, safe housing. We need mental health care, child care, good jobs that you can support a family on. We need substance abuse treatment and reentry support. The list goes on and on. And in so many cases involving the criminal justice system in these issues is counterproductive, expensive, and dangerous. Solving social issues out in the communities rather than just inside a jail means that we can all live in safer, stable communities. It means that fewer people will get caught up in the criminal punishment system in the first place. It means that people returning home from incarceration will be able to rebuild their lives and stay out of jail. The county could expand access to pretrial diversion, alternative sentencing, and split sentencing to save huge construction costs as well as operating costs. Locking people up should be the last resort. And no matter how aesthetically pleasing a new jail could be, at the end of the day, it's still a jail. Building another jail would only break up more families. It would traumatize more people locked inside. It would traumatize more COs and other jail staff. It would rip away more people's housing, their jobs, their children, any sense of empowerment over their own lives. And it would continue the cycles of violence that in our current system never end. How about we stop these cycles of violence once and for all and stop mass incarceration? Thank you.
I apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name. Is it Roosevelt Bickerstaff?
Brenda Bickerstaff?
Is it in regards to the independent evaluation?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize.
That's okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Mr. Swaney? How's everybody doing this evening? A lot of people,
Brenda,
I want to...
If you could state your name for the record.
My name is Brenda B. V. Bickerstaff. I'm the sister of Craig Bickerstaff that was killed by police. Two things I want to just talk about real quick. Number one, please vote no on a new jail. I have a client right now. Think about him tomorrow. You talking about mass incarceration? John W. Thompson is waiting for court tomorrow. He's done 20 years for a crime he didn't commit. So Rufus, his lawyer, and I will be in court with him tomorrow, hoping that he can get a new trial or the case can get dismissed. You have to understand, spending money like that, how much money you think they're going to give him once he get out? And he was wrongfully convicted for 20 years. Taxpayers is going to pay for that. We got to stop that. The jail, we asked in May for another study, and you guys said no. But we put you in those seats. We voted for you. And you have to start doing what's the best interest of the people in our community. You talking about, is it $55 million? $550 million. Come over there where I live at. In your husband's ward, Kevin Conwell's ward. Guess what looked good? Wade Park looked good by case. But down there where we live on 105, it looked like a bomb hit it. Dilapidated houses. Houses is done caught on fire. They just sitting there. They're not tearing them down. You want to spend some money? Invest in the community for the people who put you in those seats. Thank you.
Reverend Regis Bunch.
Good evening, it's Pastor Bunch. I want to start off my public comment with Hebrews 13. It says, "Let mutual love continue. Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing that, some have entertained angels without knowing it. Remember those who are in prison, as though you are in prison with them." The Bible invites all of us to treat the needs of those in prison as holy. We are invited to remember them and to consider them. What are the needs that folks who are incarcerated need? And as you may not know, but jailing is an experiment. Social engineers like yourself sat in rooms like this and said, we need a jail just because we need a jail. But now, as social engineers of the 21st century, you can sit in this room and consider something else. Treatment, housing, homes, healthcare, food, water, things that are going to be more beneficial to our society. Joseph was in jail. Moses in jail. Daniel in jail. Jesus in jail. Now in the 21st century, thinking about Angela Davis in jail, Nelson Mandela in jail, Dr. Martin Luther King in jail. How do we think about a social experiment that doesn't include jails? This is the opportunity for us to get off of what we think we should do, for what history has taught us we should do, but invite something new. We're alive in a moment, and we have the brains in this moment to look back at history, to build something new. If you have to build something, build housing. If you have to build something, build treatment. And I know, Gallagher, you're looking at your cell phone, but your cell phone is only going to tell you what we used to build. We got to be thinking about with our brains, looking here, not at our cell phones, looking and listening here, because solutions are coming, and we need to collaborate together, not off of the fat cat money that's in your pocket, but thinking about the resources that are sitting right here. People poor, people hungry, still willing to collaborate with you. Consider this moment, or else you'll lose the moment, and then you'll be responsible for putting another Jesus in jail.
Travell Harp.
You know, I like good preaching. But my name is Travell Harp. I'm the executive director of NOAA, which is a nonprofit in East Cleveland. We started off as doing community organizing, and then we became a community development corporation. Can everybody with NOAA just please stand up real quick, because I think everybody needs to see everybody who came with us. So some of the things that we established in our 15-year worth of work in East Cleveland is really getting everyday people to actually get actively participant within the community and actually taking control of some of the challenges that we faced. And I would imagine that like all the people here that represents East Cleveland and most people in East Cleveland, people think that we're in a community because we have no other place to go. But a lot of us choose to be there. And the reason why is because, not because what we see now, because trust me, we subsidize a lot of the challenges out of our own pocket and our own back in order to make things happen. But what we can can see. And one of the things that we know is economic development is a tool for us to get to that vision. And so when I say all that, so let me just read this little thing right here. So this is why we're here. We're here in reference to resolution number 2022-0149. And this is what this is sort of like the summary of what we're trying to get through. And so it says the City of East Cleveland administration advocated for the sale of the former East Cleveland Adult Activity Center located at 13231 Euclid Avenue to DP1. Now, the principals of DP1s are in affiliation with Nemo's Liquor Store located in the city of East Cleveland. It's been said that they've been doing business in the community of East Cleveland for the last 30 years, and with that time, they have not demonstrated any significant investment in our neighborhoods or even upkeep of their place of business. Now, listen to this. It's unusual that the administration has supported DP1 LLC with the full weight of the city, funding and its resources to acquire key properties in the community of East Cleveland. Now check this out. They have not vetted this relationship with the community. Secondly, the city of East Cleveland has not been transparent with a vision for development for East Cleveland. And so therefore, we consider DP1 and its affiliate Mo's Liquor Store to be a destabilizing entity in our community. Therefore, we do not condone the sale of that of 13231 to DP1. And so, and then just hear me out. Our main goal is this. It's our goal to advocate for responsible economic development in East Cleveland. And to that end, development should be transparent, invite community input, align with community values, and prioritize community benefit. And so what we're asking today is that County Council vote no for that recommendation for DP1 to get that property. Thank you so much.
Malekabood.
Members of council, my name is Malekabood. I am a principal officer of DP1 Inc. Thank you very much for the opportunity to provide comments on the purchase of the BDD building. DP1 is extremely excited about it, investing in the building and in the community. My company bid on this building in an open and transparent process. We bid on this property because I've been involved and my family has been involved in the city of East Cleveland for the past 20 years, and I'm currently renovating my personal residence in the city as well. Our plan is focused on bringing jobs and needed retail to the city. We have also for the last 2 years been working with the East Cleveland administration to build a credit union for the residents of East Cleveland. We have committed to creating that credit union in this facility because of the lack of financial institutions in East Cleveland. There are currently no banks in the entire city. We have also committed to an area for community meeting space, free to the residents, to an area for a police department substation to enhance security in the area, and a 12,000 square foot market, all of which is going to be funded by DP1 Inc. It's unfortunate that others who bid on the property are trying to create issues with this approval. We're concerned with their messaging, and the county did due diligence to investigate their unfounded allegations and found no wrongdoing. At no time have any of them contacted me to ask or to get involved in the process. And I'm open to anyone. But we can assure you that our project is the best one for the community, and we have a track record in success. And most importantly, we have the full support of the City of East Cleveland, the police department, which shows they share our vision. We're available at any time to meet with anybody from the community or to the city to discuss it. And we thank you for your time. Thank you.
Philip Moore.
Parnell.
Philip Moore.
There's rules in this chamber that are not being recognized.
Hello, council. My name is Philip Moore. I live on Euclid Avenue. I live 1 block from this facility. I want to say one thing to Cuyahoga County government. When the health facility was there, the mental health facility was there, you guys did a beautiful job of maintaining that property. When I look out my door, every morning, I have plywood in front of me, plywood to my left, and it was a great thing to be able to look to my right and see that health facility there. You guys maintained it, you mulched it. You didn't mulch it this year, but I'm okay with it. Still looks good. I am concerned about DP1, that no way should they get any property in the city of East Cleveland based on their maintenance of the property they currently have in East Cleveland. Yes, they're building, doing some renovation on a house on Alvinson Street. Cut the grass, how about that? The city came by and cut it once, and we know the city don't charge anyone for cutting the grass. I'm very concerned. It's an economic issue in the city of East Cleveland. Our property values are not like the rest of the property values in the county of Cuyahoga. Everyone else's values are appreciating. Ours are not. Ours are either stagnant or depreciating because of the bad economic development that has gone on in the city of East Cleveland. We do not want another Noble Road. We have had struggles. These people have invested in their homes. They're trying to stay there. People want to retire. I know I definitely need to retire. It's hard when you have your main investment that you cannot get to appreciate because of the bad economic decisions being made in the city of East Cleveland. I encourage you and implore you, do not allow this to go forward. NOAA put together and other organizations put together a strong bid response, and it's no reason why, other than the weight of the city administration, tilted the scale toward this organization. They did not come, NOAA tried to approach the administration to get assistance and to work with them. Yes, we have been working with U.S. Bank. We want U.S. Bank back in the city of East Cleveland. They have been supportive of us. Their branch manager has been on the board of NOAA. We need a good bank. We don't need some little credit union. We need a national bank in the city of East Cleveland that can support the city and its residents. Please do the right thing on behalf of us. Our council person, please help us. Don't let this fall by the wayside. Don't turn your back on us. These folks have worked hard to get what they have, and we implore you, do the right thing for us. Thank you so much.
Sherri Green.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Sherri L Green, and I am a 40-year homeowner in East Cleveland on Mayfair Avenue. As a founder and director of my own 501c3, my concerns center around Uplift Ohio, the nonprofit who is being considered as the recipient of the property in question here. And the item is on page 5, item number 6. What entity of Grossman DT Incorporated will be the recipient of the building? Some subsidiaries of Grossman DT are, Grossman DT is the for-profit company that owns Nemo. Reeld and G Enterprises Incorporated is also associated with Uplift Ohio. DP1 Incorporated is also associated with DPI, DP1. And by the way, what does DP1 stand for? Anybody know? Okay, DP1. Okay, Uplift Ohio is also being considered, I guess, as one of the entities associated with Grossman DT. Now, I have here an agreement, a subsipient award agreement between the City of East Cleveland and Uplift Ohio, which is a 501c3, and it reads, the City of East Cleveland awarded Uplift Ohio $49,000 to evaluate and administer of small relief grants to informal businesses in conformity with COVID-19 protocols. The subsipient services include solicitation of grant applications, review of grant applications, distribution of grant awards, monitoring of grant projects, and preparation of grant reports. Whatever entity is being awarded, you might, before you make your decision, were they thoroughly vetted by the Cuyahoga Community Council? Who vetted them? If Uplift Ohio is going to receive the money, all 501c3 records are public and must be made available upon request. I would like to see them. I am Noah. All information you have about any of these orgs, I would like to have access to. And again, the $49,000 that was given to Uplift Ohio, we don't have any idea how that money was spent, where it went, what they're doing with it, or anything. Please help us to promote transparency, because we can't get this information from the administration of East Cleveland. Thank you.
Wanda Jacobs. Wanda Jacobs.
And Wanda, please come forward at this time. And friends, I'm going to share with you, our rules do not allow for clapping. We're going to ask that you refrain from clapping from this point forward. Again, we thank you for your support in this. We will allow you to please continue to speak, but we do consider it a disruption, and our policies do require that we not clap. So we do appreciate you being here, but we will not have clapping from this point forward.
Hello,
Thank you.
Council.
The floor is yours.
My name is Wanda Jacobs. I live in East Cleveland. I've been there 35 years. And when I retired, I got into NOAA, the program. And they were helping people get their lives together, their homes together, and I thought that was a good thing. So I started helping. And what we did for the city couldn't do because they didn't have the help or the money. So we volunteered our time and our physical being to help the city start getting rid of the houses. So that we had to organize where the houses was, the addresses, and we did that for them. The city was with us. When I say we, I mean NOAA, the residents, and the city. We started together, and we've gone in together with your help. Thank you.
Shirley Hatcher.
Good evening. My name is Shirley Hatcher, and I'm a 15-year volunteer for NOAA organization. And I'm also 25 years as a proud homeowner. And our progress has been very strong, and it has been a learning experience that due to a young man that came into my life, our director, Travell Harp. He taught us to be organized. And he took us to a higher level than we expected to show that we have power in what we can do and who we vote for, and if we want to make a change. Change has to come within each of us. And then you have to do the work. Mr. Harp is a strong, religious young man, and we do not start anything without the prayer and ending in prayer. So God is in charge. God was the first community organizer. I don't know if you knew that, but God was. And he still exists today. We have, all my residents are here. Everybody in East Cleveland and supporting areas, we work hard to do what we do. And we know that we have a lot of work to do. And we were blessed to find out about this center. We need that center. We went inside and saw that beautiful location in that building. I always wondered what it looked like inside. Well, I got to see it. And when I walked inside, I was planning this and planning this and planning this as a location. This is a community place that we need, simply because the wonderful neighbors in East Cleveland have invited us to their churches, to their homes, to other organizations so that we can hold meetings. We got people to vote. We got people to deliver food and vegetables. We got people to get to know each other. We had a little hiccup 2 years ago, but thanks to Zoom, we can still do something about it. And we are here today to say no to this DP1 because they are not telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. They are lying when they said that the whole city supports us. It is not true. It is not true. So we have need for this place so that we can get under one roof, something like this, under one roof, where we can meet and greet with with residents, and we can continue to plan and do the work. Those other places that are there, they don't beautify our city. We need to help our citizens. So thank you and support us, please. We need this as a place to meet. Thank you.
William Fambro.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is William Fambro. I'm an East Cleveland resident. I'm here to support this no sale to DP1 issue. I take great difference at 2 points. I think that, for example, the city of East Cleveland has not vetted this relationship with the community. As far as I know, the community has not been invited to discuss any part of this and has had no input whatsoever. Suddenly, we just learned that the city administration was pushing DP1 out of the blue. I mean, we never knew of any meetings. Nothing whatsoever. And so the city of East Cleveland has not been transparent with a vision for development for the city of East Cleveland. This is a big part of the problem. There's no development forward. And that's what we need. And that building could be utilized in a very different way to benefit the people of East Cleveland. This is what we need. Thank you.
Reverend Samuel V. Harrell.
Good evening. My name is Samuel Harrell. I'm a resident of East Cleveland for 50 plus years. I can remember when the same piece of land we're talking about now was Spitzer Ford. I can also remember when you moved the adult education in there, and it really had no real connection to the school system. Because I work with multi-handicap, and most of them went out to Mayfield in the organization, and I wondered about that because this was sitting in our community. When I heard in terms of who was getting the property, from his record, from what I see, we don't need another liquor store. We don't need it. We don't need a savings and loan. Most of us ain't got no money. But the bottom line is, I'd like to see the city come and talk to us. I live on 5th Avenue. My street was named after some rapper, and I saw it on TV before I knew they were putting his name on the end of my street. And I've been there for 50 plus years. Nobody came around and surveyed the neighbors or anything. We can't continue to operate that way. East Cleveland is only 3 square miles, and a mile of that is the park. I've been living there. There's a beautiful community. Get calls all the time. Somebody wanting to buy my property. I understand, and most of us, I know something about the history of the city, and they're trying to turn around because we're close to the city. It's a good place to live. But I'm tired of people not thinking that we're important to people that live in the community, and that's what I'm against. And so I work with this organization, hopefully to work even more with them because I just retired.
Dr. David L. Hunter.
Good evening, Council, and to all of the officials. Delighted to be here. David Hunter, 53 years residence in East Cleveland by choice. I've lived there on the Alder and the Oak Hill. I've served 13 years teaching in East Cleveland. I've been on the school board for 7 years and been involved in church life. Been pastoring 53 years. And I want you to know that I'm concerned about East Cleveland when carpetbaggers have choices of what the city and what want to be best for the citizens and have no idea whatsoever. We have never been presented a choice of any use of the building pertinent to what I'm hearing here today. My son, a special son, went there and then they closed it down. He ended up going to Euclid. Took him 10 minutes to get there. When he got sick, I could go there and pick him up in 5 or 7 minutes. Now it takes me 15 or 20 minutes to go there. I hope that you will consider those kinds of things of residents who have invested time, our lives, our resources, all in there. And the city can come back. It can be a viable city if you allow us to use the resources that we have. NOAA, I'm a past president of NOAA. I know what NOAA stands for, can do a tremendous job for the resident if you would give us that opportunity. Thank you very much.
Rob Loftus.
Hi, I'm back to talking about the jail. I forgot to fill in that line on the form, so I was misfiled. But my name is Rob Loftus, and I live in Bay Village. So Nan Baker is my council person. And I work with the Bay Village Anti-Racism Network. BVAN was founded after the George Floyd murder, and since that time, we've organized demonstrations in Bay. We got City Council to pass an anti-racism resolution and successfully pushed back when a statewide group called Ohio Value Voters tried to stir up hysteria about teaching critical race theory and social emotional learning in the schools where we send our children. So I'm here today to speak out against building a new jail, primarily because I know that if you build it, you will fill it. And all the human rights abuses that have occurred in the old jail will carry over to the new one, because ultimately buildings don't commit human rights abuses, people do. The building may be old. The building may not have been designed according to the latest theories about how best to hold people captive, but the building did not put a woman in a restraining chair and then pepper spray her in the face because she asked to speak to a lawyer. Rather than building a new jail, the county needs to reduce the number of people it incarcerates pre-trial. Bail reform is already in the works at the state level, and changes can be made at the county level as well. We know that during the initial wave of COVID, officials found a way to dramatically reduce the jail population without any threat to public safety. And it's worth emphasizing that people held pre-trial have not been found guilty of anything. They're still innocent. The county also needs to reduce the number of people incarcerated for parole violations. A person died in the jail on January 12th, and the last I read, reporters had not gotten a straight answer as to why he was being detained. He had outstanding charges, but had been found not competent to stand trial, and no one can explain how he was brought to the jail again. And so I just think it's unconscionable that the county is asking for money to incarcerate more people when it can't even explain why it has incarcerated the people who have currently died in custody. Thank you.
Lou?
Good evening. Sure, you probably have been familiar with my theory about services like county jails and homeless services together, because there are lots of things in common. The scale may not be the same. The cost and dollar amount may not be the same, but the cost of life actually the same. Spending money to build a bigger county jail or using ARPA money to improve the shelter buildings sounds good, but we know the longer you stay in the jail, the less chance you can get your job back, get your spouse back, get your children back, to keep your health insurance if you did get any. Same thing with the homeless service. All these places heavily congregated actually is to destroy your mental health, to deteriorate your physical health, and put you to the blame that you made the wrong choices. But guess what? Last week, Wednesday, I was here telling you how difficult it was for me to sign up for a lay play. And actually, that particular morning, it took me more than 1 hour to sign up for it. Don't even say I could be framed by, I didn't sign up for it, but I tried to cheat on the play. Same thing with the county jail. How many people are actually guilty to deserve to be in there? Okay, if you want to keep it bad, but the actual truth is, for decades, even for centuries, there are lots of things that we can invest. For some reason, our system has never done that. This is a time we should use the ARPA money to make up all the holes, potholes, to catch up. But guess what? County jail will cost us the double the money than the $500 million. So where is the end? As I say before, we definitely get taxed together, and we definitely die together. To thrive together? I don't think so. Thank you.
That concludes the public comment portion for this meeting.
All right, thank you, Andrea. At this time, can I have a motion to approve our minutes from the May 24th Committee of the Whole and the May 24th regular meeting?
So moved.
Conwell.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor of saying, approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, the minutes are approved. At this time, we'll have messages from our county executive.
Thank you, Mr. President. Over recent months, we've been working together on a variety of new transformative initiatives using money from ARPA. And you have several more on your agenda this evening. But we can walk and we can chew gum at the same time. We're still doing projects to move the county forward apart from ARPA. Tonight, I'm pleased to tell you about 2 new economic development projects that will be heard by the Cuyahoga County Community Investment Corporation next week, and hopefully brought forward for your consideration shortly after. One is a loan to create 6 new leasable spaces for businesses in the former Vitrolite building on Detroit Avenue. New tenants will include an indoor cycling studio, a yoga studio, and a dance studio. A second loan would renovate the vacant Mickey's building in East Cleveland. Being near University Circle, the building is planned to house biotech and health sector businesses. We believe this is good economic development and will bring good jobs to East Cleveland. Both of these projects will be reviewed by CCCIC on Thursday and brought forward for your consideration early next month. Thank you.
Legislation introduced by council. Consideration of a resolution of council for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
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 Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0138, providing for the appointment of Molly M. McGinnis as the office manager to serve the Council of Cuyahoga County.
Move to adopt.
Second, Conwa.
Been properly moved and seconded. This time, we'd like to speak to the item.
Good evening, Council President, Council members, Trevor McClure, County Council staff. Before you today is the resolution to appoint Molly McGinnis as the council's office manager. This appointment replaces Tiffany Burke, who resigned in February. We had 33 applications for this position. The interviewed team include 5 council members and Joe Nani and myself. We interviewed 7 applicants. 4 of them were submitted to the PRC to take a proofreading and writing test with the Personnel Review Commission. And Molly McGinnis, between the results of the test and her interview, was the recommended candidate. In terms of background, Molly has been a county employee for about 4 years. She currently serves as the executive assistant to the director of HR. Prior to that, she was the executive secretary for over 6 years at university hospitals, and she has a bachelor's degree from John Carroll University. If the body approves her, she'll start on Monday, June 20th.
Mr. President?
Councilman Miller?
I had the opportunity to participate in the selection process, and I believe that Ms. McGinnis is extremely well qualified, and I'd like to ask my name be added to the legislation. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. President, may I be added as well?
Okay. At this time, all those in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Molly is joined us. Is Molly here at this time? Oh, she left, okay. All right, all right. At this time, consideration of a resolution of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2022-0139, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
All right, this item will be referred to the Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee. Legislation introduced by executive. Consideration of resolutions for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend rules 9D and 12A?
Mr. President, I move to suspend those rules.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of suspending of the rules, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2022-0140, amending the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget for 2022 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund for appropriation transfers and cash transfers.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Councilman Miller, do you have any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, my colleagues, I'm going to present the resolution and then propose a substitute. This resolution is the regular fiscal agenda of budget amendments. Answers to our questions to OBM are on your desks. The items are significant but routine. Notably, $14,388,747 is appropriated for road work on Superior, Harvard, Ridge, Green, and Sprague, and bridge work on Old Rockside and Jefferson bridges using a combination of the county $5 license, county $7.50 license, ODOT, and municipal funds. $67,428,732 is appropriated to use funds from the U.S. Treasury for emergency rental assistance. $6 million is appropriated to purchase vehicles and equipment for the sanitary sewer district, funded by charges to municipalities for services. $4,097,243 is appropriated as 2021 leftover funds from the Veterans Service Commission. Routine half-year transfers from the HHS levy fund are also included to provide ongoing services. I now propose a substitute, which is technical at the request of OBM. The substitute merely changes the capital projects amount in cash transfer item B from $10 million to $10,200,000 to correct a typographical error. I recommend passage of the substitute and passage of the resolution as substituted. I now move to substitute and ask for a second.
Second, Sweeney.
And properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the proposed substitute, Councilman Miller? If not, all those in favor of accepting the proposed substitute, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. And at this time, all those in favor of adopting the resolution on its merits as substituted, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0141, approving a collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and United Automobile, Aerospace, and Agricultural Implement Workers of America, Region 2B, representing approximately 9 employees in the cooks, laundry, and custodial workers classifications at the Sheriff's Department for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024.
Move to adopt. Properly moved and
May I
seconded.
get a second, please, again?
This item was previously discussed in executive session, and I ask for my colleagues' support. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0142, approving a collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Ohio Council 8, AFL-CIO, Local 2927, representing approximately 1 employee in the classification of Social Service Worker 2 in the Cuyahoga County's Sheriff's Department for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023.
Move to adopt.
Schron, second.
Probably moved and seconded. This item also was previously discussed in executive session, and I ask for my colleagues' support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0143, authorizing an award totaling $45,500,000 of U.S. Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance funds to CHN Housing Partners to provide emergency rental assistance to income-eligible tenants unable to pay their full monthly rent due to the economic impact from COVID-19 for the period April 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2025.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. President, been too many places today. I would like to tell you that this is an incredibly important opportunity for Cuyahoga County. The staff in the Department of Development and the executive fought to obtain funding that might have been lost to the state of Ohio. There was almost $100 million that the state of Ohio was going to lose because they could not figure out how to use it appropriately. Staff applied for it and obtained this commitment for funding. This is the kind of initiative that needs to be done. It will help keep people in their homes and make sure that they are coached and educated to reduce the number of times that they could potentially lose homes due to loss of income or other kinds of problems that create difficulties for families to make rent payments.
To adopt.
It's been properly moved. Is there a second?
Second.
At this point, all those in favor, would you say aye?
Aye.
Mr. President, to the clerk, I abstain.
And 1 abstention. All right. Consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2022-0144, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Jennifer Croasman to serve on the Child Abuse and Child Neglect Regional Prevention Council of the Ohio Children's Trust Fund, representing the Great Lakes region, and it's for the term September 28th, 2022 through September 27th, 2024.
This item will be referred to the Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee.
Mr. President,
Councilman Miller.
may I please have my name added?
Let's add Councilman Miller's name.
Thank you.
Resolution 2022-0145, extending the appointment of Interim Director of the Department of Human Resources, Sheba N. Marshall, to March 31st, 2023, or until a permanent appointment is made, whichever is sooner.
This item will move to the June 21st council agenda for consideration for second reading.
Resolution 2022-0146, making awards on requisition 8603 to various engineering firms in the total amount not to exceed $1,350,000 for general engineering services commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 3 years for the following vendors. Contract number 2471 with ACOM Services of Ohio, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $450,000. B, contract number 2470 with Euthenix, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $450,000. And C, contract number 2472 with HNTB, Ohio, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $450,000.
This item will be referred to the Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0147, making an award on requisition 8818 to Fabrizi Recycling, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $2,818,140 for the 2022 sewer repair program for various county sewer districts, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 2 years.
This item will be referred to the Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0148, making an award on requisition 9207 to Shermer Construction, LLC, in the amount not to exceed $4,749,202 for replacement of Jefferson Avenue Bridge number 0057 between West 3rd Street and the Cuyahoga River in the city of Cleveland.
This item will be referred to the Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0149, authorizing a purchase and sale agreement with DPI, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $535,000 for the sale of county-owned property located at 1323-1 Euclid Avenue in the city of East Cleveland for various permanent parcels.
And this item will be referred to the Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee. At the end of this meeting, the date and time for this committee will be announced.
Resolution 2022-0150, authorizing a grant award to Cleveland Water Alliance in the amount not to exceed $1,450,000 to establish the Water Economy Growth Initiative Program, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 2 years.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of suspending the rules say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2022-0132, authorizing a state contract purchase with The Safety Company, LLC, doing business as MTech Company, in the amount not to exceed $905,461.72 for the purchase of 1 replacement Dynavac straight jet truck and 2 Q's TV trucks for the sanitary division.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this came before Public Works on June 1st, 2022. The funding for this is 100% out of the county sanitary sewer fund, and this will allow video connectivity and review of the sewer work that makes the sewer work quicker and more efficient for the county. The views, the sewer lines it pushes out what they call the grit in the sewers, and they got an 11% discount as well due to the use of the state contracting process. So what I ask for my colleagues' support on this legislation moving forward.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0133, making an award on requisition 8964 to Katz Construction, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $2,974,258.50 for rehabilitation of various roads.
Motion to adopt. Mr. President, this particular piece of legislation that came before Public Works on June 1st, 2022. This will be funded 60% by the county, 25% issue 1 funds, and 15% from the involved municipalities. This includes the rehabilitation of Green Road between Euclid Avenue and the southern Cleveland border in Ivanhoe from Euclid Avenue to East 152nd Street. They'll start the work as soon as possible, and they hope to complete it by the end of October in 2022. Two-way traffic will be maintained throughout the period of construction. I would ask for my colleagues' support on moving this forward so they can get this work done.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, the resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0134, making an award on requisition 8508 to Smith Group Architects and Landscape Architect, PLLC, doing business as Smith Group, PLLC, in the amount not to exceed $1,146,857 for professional engineering design services for the Beulah Park Euclid Beach Connector project, commencing upon contract signature of all parties through December 31st, 2023.
Motion to adopt.
Second, Simon.
And, Mr. President, this came before Public Works on June 1st, 2022. It was presented by our Director Dever, as well as Mike Polensik from the City of Cleveland, councilman, who supports the project. The Smith Group will be designing plans for the lakefront, including the incorporation of access points, trails, and public spaces. The start date is June 7th of 2022, and a completion date of 12/31/23. The ARPA funding will be utilized. The project fits in with the county's entire lakefront access plan, and the project will seek to increase public access to our waterfront while protecting the coast from erosion and pollutants. I'd ask for my colleagues' support on this very worthwhile venture.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0135, authorizing a grant award to Cuyahoga County Board of Health in the total amount not to exceed $2,900,000 to support various mission activities commencing upon agreement, signature of all parties for a period of 3 years. For the continuation of COVID-19 response efforts in the amount not to exceed $1,100,000, and B, for lead remediation of housing units in Cuyahoga County suburbs in the amount not to exceed $1,800,000.
Couldn't get that microphone on. Mr. President, I'd like to share with the council that this funding is incredibly important, not only for making sure that we continue to test and provide support to people who come down with the latest variation of COVID-19, but also to help make sure that our health department can continue to work in Cuyahoga County suburbs to help define what is our homes that are contaminated by lead, and to find ways to remediate them. In our committee meeting, we found that there's still substantive work to do, and this funding will help take care of those problems.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Council President, could I clarify who made the motion and who seconded it again?
I made it, Cheryl.
Second?
Who's the second?
Toronto second.
Thank you. Resolution 2022-0136, authorizing an agreement of affiliation with Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County, Inc., to recognize and designate said organization as the official Citizens Reward Program for Cuyahoga County for the period September 15th, 2021 through September 14th, 2023.
Move to adopt.
Second, Simon.
Mr. President, this was heard in the Safety Committee meeting. This, as the title states, is memorializing Crime Stoppers as the official program within Cuyahoga County. Recommendation was adoption.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. President, if I
Yes.
may. Also, in that committee, the new sheriff was introduced, and I don't know if everybody had the opportunity. Sheriff Hammett, if you would stand. Sheriff, if you could stand so the council could see you. And this sheriff is our new sheriff. And I was telling the committee that you were introduced at the Safety Committee meeting, and anybody that wanted to put a face to the name or name to the face, now would be a good time.
I can do the introduction over again if you want. For those who weren't here, I'm Steve Hammett. Just a little bit about my background. I've been in law enforcement since 1987. Started out with the Cleveland Heights Police Department back in '87. Remained there until 1990. Transferred over to the Shaker Heights Police Department. I was with Shaker for 21 years. I was fortunate enough to progress through the ranks to the sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and I left there as their deputy chief of police. In 2011, I joined the University Heights Police Department as their police chief. I was their police chief from 2011 until 2018. Retired, as I indicated before, Mr. President. That lasted about 3 months. I decided I couldn't handle it at the time. Watched all the reruns of the Cartwrights and all the Westerns that I watched as a kid. So I went back to work, took a job as the Cleveland Institute of Art as their director of safety. I was there for 3 years. Sheriff Filan and I had known each other for a long time. Went to the police academy together. He asked me to join him down here. I was lucky enough to get hired as a captain, and upon his departure, I was fortunate enough to be appointed as the interim police chief, interim sheriff. So used to being called a police chief, it's habit forming, but as sheriff, and I'm happy to be here. I plan on doing everything I can to enhance operations in the sheriff's department and be a member of the county management team. Questions?
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
being here, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
President, can I have my name added to that? I think I asked in committee.
Let's add Councilwoman Conwell's name.
Resolution 2022-0137, authorizing the issuance and sale of healthcare and independent living facilities refunding revenue bonds. Series 2022, Eliza Jennings Senior Care Network, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $55 million for the purposes of currently refunding bonds previously issued by the county, funding a debt service reserve fund if required, and paying certain costs of issuance, and providing for the assignment of revenues for the payment of those bonds.
Move to adopt.
Second, Simon.
This matter was heard in the Economic Development Committee, Planning Committee, and it does not represent using the good offices of the county to support the $55 million in bond proceeds. It does not affect our credit worthiness. It is merely using it as a conduit from the county, thereby passing along tax-exempt status to Eliza Jennings Senior Care Network. And as a result of that, they were able to receive bond funding at a lower interest rate than what they could get on their own. So very supportive of that. And the county is now charging what I consider to be a reasonable fee, which for the administration of these. And so it's a win-win for both Eliza Jennings and the county does recover any of our costs that we were incurring in the past. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Consideration of resolutions for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0117, authorizing a partner funding agreement among City of Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, Cleveland Cuyahoga Port Authority, and Northeast Ohio Area Coordinating Agency in the amount not to exceed $2,500,000 to provide for matching funds for eligible construction phase activities for the stabilization of the hillside abutting the Cuyahoga River at Irishtown Bend.
Move to adopt.
Second, Simon.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0119, making an award on requisition 6906 to PCs for People Ohio LLC in the amount not to exceed $19,382,136 for the deployment of broadband services in Cuyahoga County, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 3 years.
Move to adopt.
Second, Simon.
President?
Probably moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. One of the things that came up, because this did come up in the Economic Development Commission, the concepts of this with the suggestion this is a 3-year period program, and it was the suggestion within that commission that every year they do get a renewal and revisit this every year to see how they're progressing. It was not written into the original resolution, but I think it's certainly an appropriate thing when you're spending this kind of money, $20 million, that there be an annual review to see how it performs.
All right, any further discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Miller.
my colleagues, I have some reservations as to whether we've found the best approach to broadband here. However, because of the importance of dealing with the digital divide, I'm going to vote in favor of it. Thank you.
Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0123, authorizing a grant award to Fund for Our Economic Future of Northeast Ohio in the total amount not to exceed $9 million as fiscal agent for Workforce Funders Group for various workforce development activities, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 3 years for the following entities. In the amount not to exceed $5 million for expansion of the manufacturing sector partnership. B, in the amount not to exceed $1 million for a higher education internship program, and C, in the amount not to exceed $3 million for career education in public schools countywide.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Been properly
Thank you.
moved and seconded. Discussion?
Thank you. This resolution was heard in the Economic Development Committee on Monday, May 16th, 2022. Economic Development Director Paul Herdig introduced this resolution to fund our economic future of Northeast Ohio in the total amount not to exceed $9 million. Kathy Belk, that chairs the Workforce Funders Group and heads the Deaconess Foundation, gave a brief overview of the program and introduced 12 guests to speak in support of this program. The funding has already been explained by our clerk. The primary goal for this project is to provide funding for these 3 critical workforce development initiatives, and each is strategically connected to ongoing workforce sector partnership activities. This funding is made possible by the American Rescue Plan Act. After a 2-hour presentation, this project was approved by the committee, and except for Councilman Schron, who abstained, I ask for your vote of support of this resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One abstention.
And one abstention. The resolution is adopted. Miscellaneous committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
Mr. President,
Councilman Miller.
my colleagues, Finance and Budgeting will meet at our next regular time on Monday, June 13th at 1 p.m. to hear the item on the Opiate Innovation Fund, which was held from the previous fiscal agenda, to hear the final report on capital expenditures for the ERP project, and to hear an update on the Harris project.
Thank you. Mr. President, Public Works will meet at its regularly scheduled time next Wednesday, the 15th.
Mr. Chair, or Mr. President, HHS will meet on Wednesday, 6:15. That's the date at 1 o'clock. And if the clerk could add my name to resolution 2022-0145.
Mr. President?
Yes, Councilwoman.
Council, Committee on Environment Sustainability will have its meeting on the 15th of June at 3 p.m. to hear the item referred out of the council meeting today.
All right.
And, Mr. President,
Councilwoman.
the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee will meet Tuesday, June 14th at 10 o'clock.
Right, any other reports? Yes, yes, they did. All right, any miscellaneous business? If not, if nothing else holds our attention, our meeting is adjourned.